I built these two games using Cursor and Windsurf. One of them is a very basic game using 3GS that you are a wizard, you walk, you attack monsters. And the second game is a much more complex with 3D models, animations, as well as goblins. I want to show you how I've built this game, how I've integrated animations. First game took me 10 minutes, the second game took me 1 day, and I'll show you exactly how I've built both of them. Let's begin. To start the process, what I did is I've created this prompt to help you create 3 different documents. The first one is a game design document, which include all of the information about the game, from the overview, story, gameplay mechanics, level design, NPC, so on and so forth. Then we have the technical design document, which include all of the technology stack, how to create it, how to optimize performance, how to use the network, and then the prototype document. In the beginning, we want to build a prototype of the game instead of building a really robust game, because Cursor or Windsurf won't be able to really build a robust game in the beginning. So we want to start building the core systems, like the combat system, maybe it's HP, dying system, so when the player dies, he will spawn again, and that would be in the prototype. Then I added this area where you can integrate the information like the name of the game, your targeted audience, the narrative itself, the development tools, and I even added in my gist a recommendation to what platform to use and what development tools to use if you want to build it on 3GS. So I took this entire prompt, I gave it to Grok, and he created all of those documents for me. I then took those documents, I created a new project in Cursor, I added this doc folder, and in this I created all of those documents .md. You can of course go over them, see that everything is according to what you want the game to be. If it is, you are ready to start. The next thing I did, from my perspective, a very important part, I created in the settings rules specific rule for this project, which I call it using 3GS. First of all, I made it global. So apply this on every request and not just specific pages or like file types of the project. And I told them every time you work with 3GS, use these rules. So your goal is to learn the latest and most updated ways writing 3GS code. And I use this with an MCP tool called Playwright. To add the tool, I'll go to setting, MCPs, and then if you go to Smithery, you can search for Playwright, and you can just go to Cursor, depends on your system, you can integrate this in the MCP. For example, I took this command, I went here and I integrated this command. It gives the LLM, it gives the agent in Cursor the ability to go online and actually click and get information from pages. So instead of me uploading all of the documentation from 3GS, which is a lot, every time he needs a specific thing, creating the mesh of the texture of the character, he can use the MCP tool, go to 3GS documentation, read the information on his own, and then use it to create. This way we save a lot of problems with taking a specific mesh and not really using the right variables. So I just wanted to save myself all of those problems. So the way I will start the project is, first of all, I'll just use all of those documents. So I'll drag and drop those documents into the agent chat window, and I'll give him 3 different prompts. The first one is, I want you to first read those documents and tell me what we're going to build. If everything is correct, I will tell him to create a step-by-step plan for me, move it to an MD document, save it under the docs folder, and then when this is saved, I will tell him to start executing this plan step by step, and every phase he finished to go back to the document and check the boxes of what he have completed. That will help me prime the chat, this specific agent, toward building the prototype itself, and then he will start executing the plan step by step. So I'll do it and I'll meet you on the other side. Okay, so now I have the prototype plan and it's completely ready. What I'll do is I'll just pin this plan. So from now, every time I'm working with the plan, I can just see it here, it's pinned. So even if I'm closing all windows, it will stay and I can start implementing this plan. So what I'll tell him is, let's start with phase 1. Once you completed this phase, to update the prototype file and then report back what was done, what problems you faced, and how you solved them. So now I'll start running phase by phase and I'll show you the end product. Okay, so we finished phase 1, he initialized the project structure, created some basic files like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript files, some basic camera movement, loading screen, and set the development environment with live reload. And now we will just move to phase 2. So again, I'll just paste it here. Let's go phase 2 and send, and we will continue with this phase by phase. So we will do phase 2 and then phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, and phase 6, phase 7. And then before polish and optimization, we will just start testing it. I'll launch the server, we can see the game. And then we probably gonna have some debugging to do to make sure that the game is actually working. Now, something really cool that you can see here is that once I started generating the actual JavaScript code, he already started using the MCP tool to create the scene, to go and learn exactly what he needed to understand. So he navigated there, he got all content, so he got some of the content to start setting up the scene, and now we create the scene JavaScript file itself. So this is how he will use the tool every time and save us a lot of time on mistakes that he will base the code based on his knowledge, and maybe most of the time it's not the latest way to write the code. I'll see you after I'm finishing all of those phases, and I'll show you what came up through this process. So it created everything from phase 1 to 7. When I launch the server, I will just open it, and this is what we get, right? Not really a game yet. So what I'll do is I'll go to the console here, and I can see that we have some problem loading things. So what I'll do is I go here, I'll copy this, and I'll also go to this. I got this before, so it's like an introduction on the installation, and I'll even paste the entire information from this page and just send it to him. So we can start fixing the problems that we found in the console. He will probably get those and start fixing those. So let's see how the fix look. The last couple of times I tried building games, I saw that there is always problems with the ES module. So what I'll do is I'll create an empty document with all of the instructions on how to use it now that we fixed this problem. And I'll link this document in the description below. So now that we have this document, we still have a couple of problems in the console. I'll send those problems back, and this is how you do it. You just keep on finding those problems, you send them back with an image to understand, and of course the more the code scales, the more elements you will have, the harder it will be. But the beauty of building like this is that if you go, for example, to the, let's say the main, right? So this is where everything will load. You can all the time see what is loading. For example, let's go to the player. You can see, okay, so this is related to player stats. So if you want to play with the player stats, you can come here and even highlight something and edit. You can use 3.7 Sonnet, and you can start writing edits that you want to do for this specific code. So instead of working with the agent, especially when you start growing the code base, you will want to know where you can find every single elements or feature in the game and come here and start editing them one by one with the edit mode. So in this way, you don't hurt other functions in the code. You actually start solving problem by problem or scaling element by element or feature by feature within your game. So I'll keep on fixing the errors and I'll show you the end result. So it's working on how to solve the problems. I want to show you how I've built this game with Windsurf. And this is with actual 3D characters and animations. And we'll just give it a second. It will load the game itself. So with 3D animations and characters, as you can see, I have the character is a complete 3D model. And I also have different animations for this model. And there are enemies. He can walk, as you can see the animation of the walk. And there are a couple of goblins on the map. Let's find one. Here is one. And she knows to come to us, and I can attack her. And of course, there is a dying animation for her. And of course, there is also a dying animation for the character itself. So I want to show you how I've created this. So what I did is I went to a website called Mixamo, and in it you have two different things. You have the characters, so you can literally go and find different characters that you want to integrate into your game. It's free to download, so you can just, for example, take this character. I can press use this character, and the model is already ready for you. And then what you can do is you can download the character itself. Now let's remove the animation. So yeah, so this is the character itself, and you can download the character. So if I'll download this, I will get a 3D model FBX file. Then what you can do is you can take different animations. So for example, let's say I have a dying animation. I can just press on it. It will integrate this animation into the character, and I will download this animation itself. So now I have the character and I have animation. Now, one important thing is that if you have, for example, walking animation, you can see that you have this button in place, because if you won't use it, and I got stuck for it for hours, is that it will keep on doing this, right? So it will go and re-loop the same animation. But when you do in place, it will actually be just like you saw in the game, where you can press and it will keep on walking without the loop itself. So I'll download this, and what I'll do is once I downloaded those folders, those files, I'll actually go to the folder itself of the game. And in the folder of the game, I created a folder called player. I uploaded the warrior file for the 3D model, and then the actual animations I want for him. For example, walking or idle or punching or running. And then when I started coding the game, I just told him to take those models, and he created GS files that know how to load the model into the main game. And it just loads this 3D model into the game. And this is how you can see the character itself and also the animations in the character. So with this, you will be able to build much more appealing visually games. But again, because it's on the web, it's on the browser, I don't know how scalable this is. I didn't try to scale more than this. So I don't know that if I'll add like a couple of different characters and different elements, I don't know, like props in the environment, I don't know how much able to run and still give us a smooth game. So this is how you can do it. You can just integrate those. I use Windsurf. It's pretty simple. I think that it understands the code a little bit better than Cursor. Tried building the game on both of them with those 3D elements. So this is how you are able to also integrate the characters themselves. And again, you can integrate maybe just the character, and then everything else will use 3GS. So here I also uploaded the picture, like a GP picture of the ground and some prop as the grass. And this is how you can do it. Let's go back and see. Now it should be ready. Let's open the local host and see if we have a game. So now it looks like we already have something and we can move. Let's see if we can attack the characters. Okay, so T to toggle auto attack. So seems like we are not able to attack, but this is like a very basic model of a game. You can actually build more than this. You can integrate attacks, you can integrate more characters, you can integrate different animals and features and systems within the game. Now we have XP, we have some health, some mana that probably should go down when we attack. But this was without 10 minutes of just him doing the work. And from here on, it's just, okay, work on this feature and work on this feature. Now, if you want to learn more about how you can build games, applications using Cursor or AI agents using N8N, and then not just building the product, but actually learn how to market the product, which is probably 60% of the work, you can check the description below. There is a link to my school community. I'm going to publish there the Cursor course pretty soon, as well as the agent course. There is also marketing foundational courses already in the classroom. And we meet twice a week, one time to actually build application with Cursor and one time to build agents in N8N. If it's of interest for you, check the link in the description below. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, ciao.